Hi, and welcome to the Friday Live, or should I say the Friday Recorded, because of course once again I am away. I'm up in Scotland, hopefully having travelled from the Shetlands to the Orkneys. So we're in Kirkwall today, I hope, with lovely sunshine I'm sure, and hopefully the sun's with you as well. And I come back on Wednesday of next week. So that means the Monday is also recorded. The teams will be on Thursday next week. Hopefully you enjoyed the teams this week. Do give me a feedback. Another different kind of thing. I don't think it went particularly well for me, but hopefully some interest in it. And as I say, what we're trying to do is experiment with a few things so that I can have them in store, as it were, ready to go every so often when I'm away. But as I say, I'm back on Wednesday, so we're going to do the teams on Thursday evening, and then a normal week thereafter. What are we doing? Well, we're disrupting Declare on the website, of course. So that's the topic for the new month, because we are in June next week. So that's exciting. My birthday month. I might have even got older before the next time I see you. We shall see. And today we are suit establishing, of course. We've got the normal setup, really. Bidding quiz. Trying to be on topic, as it were. And then the little seminar, the answer to the bidding quiz, and then the 5-level decision. And that's pretty much it. What are we focusing on today? We're focusing on hands that exhibit the power of the trump suit. The trump suit's a wonderful thing when establishing suits, I have to say. So we should have some fun, I hope. And with that in mind, let's go to the bidding quiz. So you will notice it is similar auction to last week. Hopefully carrying on a theme. So 1 heart on your left from north, 1 spade from your partner, pass from south. 1 heart, 1 spade, pass, and it's your bid. Okay. So have a little think about that. We will revisit it after the seminar. Okay, so 1 heart, 1 spade, pass, and it's your turn to call. Nobody's vulnerable, I should say that. Okay. So, let's go to the PowerPoint, I think. Let's go there. So here we are, suit establishment in suits. We had a look at a variety of suits last time, and we hopefully got across some of the excitement. Let's go over it again. I'm going to repeat this each time. A good 5-card suit is worth 1 point in the bidding, I should say. What I will say, though, is that when you're in a suit contract with a side suit, the 5-card suit doesn't have to be good to make an extra trick. And that's interesting. So I add a point on for a good 5-card suit. I'm still quite happy with a bad 5-card suit. And the first one we're going to see today is going to be a very bad 5-card suit that does indeed give us an extra trick. So it's quite interesting now. Okay, the 5th card is often worth an extra trick. And the key is you've got to contemplate it early. That's the crucial thing, okay? Because the power of trumps allows you to keep control of the hand while you are developing a suit, i.e. rough, crossover, rough, draw trumps, end of story. Whereas in no trumps, very often you have to give the lead away 3 times, and by that time the defence have done what they need to do. Okay, so always assess a 5-card suit or longer before playing to trick 1. Don't forget the entry rule. What we said was to establish and make a suit by force. Generally, when you're roughing, you need that extra entry beyond the number of times you rough. And that's, I know it's obvious, but if we're going to try and work it out, adding that extra entry is important. So work out the number of times you need to rough and add 1 on for the number of entries you need in total. And we looked at this quite closely last week, of course. So here is my classic example, one of my favourite examples for suit establishment, because, of course, well, we've got to work out whether we can establish it first, but the point is that you can see how poor the club suit is in dummy. So it's not particularly something that you would have got excited about in the auction here. However, as we're going to see, if we've got enough entries, if the clubs break 4 and 3 against you, you have got a chance of establishing the suit. So let's just see. The Queen of Hearts is led against 4 spades, and you have 10 top tricks, so there is no prize for making the contract. But as you know, playing pairs, greed is good. If I can make 4 spades plus 1, I transform an average into a top. And that's what's so important. So the question is, can you establish clubs? Well, most of the time they'll break 4 and 3, which means if we can get to the 5th round of the suit, we will have a winner, even if it's the 4. Okay, so we are going to need 3 roughs to establish that suit. We lose the first trick to whoever, then we would need 3 roughs, and eventually we will get to our 5th club. So to take 3 roughs, we require 4 entries. So that is a lot of entries. Okay. However, I think you might have them. And that's the beauty of this hand. Yes, I know you think, oh, come on, Bernard. We never have Queen 10 when we've got the Ace, King, Jack in the hand, but we do. And they come up, and I often mention them when they come up, and I say, people never believe these hands happen. But here you do have 4 entries, believe it or not. The Queen and 10 of spades and the Ace and King of diamonds. And the important thing is when you're, and we're going to be discussing this over the coming weeks, that when you're using your entries, always use the entries in trumps first, because of course part of the mission is not just establishing the suit, it is to draw trumps as well, because if you don't draw trumps, establishing a suit doesn't do you much good, okay, because of course they can still rough it. But there are 4 entries, and that's the beauty here. Now, interestingly, if they'd led the Queen of diamonds, everything would have changed. And not that there's many ways of making an extra trick here, but the point is that if they have led the Queen of diamonds, that would have taken one of our entries out, and suddenly we'd only have 3 entries left. Okay. However, what we're going to do here is we're going to win the Ace of Hearts. And if we believe there's a chance to establish the clubs, we play clubs straight away. So none of this drawing trumps first. We win the Ace of Hearts and play a club. Now, we're slightly risking things. Who knows? Maybe South wins and leads the Jack of Hearts back, and it turns out the Queen of Hearts was a singleton. Okay, that wouldn't be so nice, but how often is that going to happen? Very few times. Okay, so we make our plan and let's go through it. As I say, I love seeing this hand happen because it, in a way, it looks like magic. So we win the first trick. It's a lot of effort, I will admit that. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't know if I can be bothered to put that effort in. But it's the difference between an average and a top. So it's worth it. So we cross over. First of all, we play a club. So we're taking a slight risk, not drawing trumps. The Jack of Hearts is led back. Actually, if that got roughed, you wouldn't be worried because it wouldn't be taking a trick away. But we win the king anyway. And now we start the process. We play a spade to the 10. We then play a club back. And we rough. Now, once again, that could be over-roughed. On a really bad day, the clubs could be 6-1 against you. Okay, but it's pretty unlikely. Okay, you're talking about sort of 4%. Remember, if North had had a singleton, wouldn't he have led it? Okay, and wouldn't South maybe have bid it with Ace, King, Queen to however many? So we've roughed that. Let's cross in trumps again. Lovely. Okay, so one of the difficulties, of course, when establishing suits in suit contracts is you do have to focus on the trumps as well. So we have drawn 2 rounds of trumps. So that means they've both followed. 4 trumps have gone. There's only 1 left. Okay, but you've got to remember that, because one of the worst things in bridge is to establish a suit, crossover, triumphantly take your winner, and then discover that you'd left 1 trump out and they rough it anyway. Okay, so we rough another club. That's high. Remember, the ace, king, jack are all high, so they can't overruff even if they could. They've both followed in clubs, which means the suit has broken 4-3 because they both played 3 times. Now you draw a trump, and that should be the last one. Now it gets risky because it always feels risky if you use your last trump. But we are confident that the trumps have gone, and we're confident there's only one club left. And there it goes, the ace of clubs. And at this point, you still have that last entry. And that's why you need 4 entries. That king of diamonds is gold dust, isn't it? You cross over to the king, and that jack of clubs, which I have to say, it was hard work. I will admit, very hard work indeed. But the 11th trick is what gives you the top. Okay, the 11th trick is what gives you the top. I suppose some people might not have been game, so you might do okay in 4 spades, but 4 spades plus 1 is lovely. There's the full hand. Okay, once again, six spades, the ace, king of hearts, and the ace, king of diamonds. And what can North-South do about it? As I say, if they happen to have led a diamond, it would have worked out better for them, but the queen of hearts is just the normal lead, isn't it? Look how lovely clubs North has. You know, they're really lovely, but there's nothing you can do. Okay, once we won the ace of hearts, play a club, he can switch maybe to a trump, but of course that we just use that as an entry, ruff a club, cross over again, ruff a club, and we get to 11 tricks. And that's, I have to say, one of my favourite forms of development. Sometimes ace to 5 is rather nice. Ace to 5 is rather nice, and in fact, that's the kind of holding you had in the bidding quiz. No clues, as it were. Where here, if you'd had ace to 5 in clubs, of course, you need 1 less entry, because the ace will be one of the entries. So having a side suit headed by the ace is quite key. Okay. So that's the first one. And as I say, what we were trying to do today was exhibit the possibilities. Okay. Another thing that we're going to look at over the coming things is bidding, because bidding makes a lot of difference. Because I've said to you, how do you expect suits to break and things like that? Well, of course, we tend to use the odds. And a 4-3 break is reasonably common. Whereas, let's have a look at this one and see how we feel about this one. Well, there is an auction here. You open 3 spades. I think that's okay. You're vulnerable against vulnerable, I should say. So both sides are vulnerable, but I think that's okay. I'd still open it there, 3 spades. I love king, queen, jack, 10 to 7. To be honest, if I'm vulnerable against not, I will still open it because I think it's a beautiful descriptive bid. Okay, it goes 3 spades, pass. What would you bid with the east hand here? It's an interesting one because you know they haven't got a fit in hearts, but you'd sort of feel that there's a fair chance they can make maybe 3 no trumps, and certainly maybe even 5 of a minor, although they might lose 3 aces here. But you'd have thought 3 no trumps had a good chance. So you choose to bid 4 spades. And interestingly, it goes pass, pass, pass. So it goes 3 spades, 4 spades. Passed out. And let's see what the lead is. The queen of hearts. So you're vulnerable against vulnerable, and you're quite happy to be in 4 spades undoubled, aren't you? Because you can see that you've only got 14 points between you. But it's again, it's interesting whether they should be bidding or not. How do you think the hearts are breaking? And that's the key here. So the question, as always, is we say to ourselves 2 top tricks, which is always quite funny when you're in 4 spades and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm starting at just 2. Clearly, you're going to make 6 more in spades. Okay, you have 7 spades. You've got to lose to the ace, of course, but you'll make 6 more. So you've got 8 tricks, I think, relatively easily. And the question I'm always going to ask myself is, can I establish the long suit? And it seems unlikely. But I want you to contemplate the auction here. Because I sort of feel to myself here that if the hearts broke 4-2, perhaps one of them might have been bidding. So it's not, I don't think it's going to be a huge necessarily surprise that they're 3-3. Does that make sense? So for example, if North had had Queen Jack 10 to 4, we're guessing that they've both got around 12 or 13 points. Because remember, they've got 26 between them. So if one of them had 18, you'd feel they'd have made a bid, or even 16. So let's say they're 13 and 13. Well, if one of them had, so if North, for example, had 4 hearts with probably short spades, you'd feel that he might have made a takeout double. But with 3 hearts with 13 points, imagine, for example, North is 2 spades, 3 hearts, and 4-4 in the minors. You wouldn't want to make a borderline double then. And then, of course, East's 4 spades is clever. I think if it goes 3 spades pass, maybe South will dredge up a double even though he hasn't got 4 hearts. Perhaps. But over 4 spades, it's tricky. So, of course, we can't guarantee they're 3-3, but I think it's not unreasonable to hope. So, if they are 3-3, things might be helpful. Well, what options have you got? Well, you could try and ruff a diamond or a club in dummy. However, I think the opponents can see you. So as soon as you play, for example, let's say you ruff the first trick, play ace of diamonds in another diamond, I think they're going to switch to trumps, and they are very quickly going to stop you ruffing ace and another trump, and all you make is 8 tricks. So surely I think it's, well, let's consider. Well, we would need to establish the suit. We're going to ruff the first one. We will then need 2 more ruffs if it breaks 3-3, if the hearts break 3-3. So we would need 3 entries. So to achieve that, can we have 3 entries? Well, I guess so, if North has the ace of spades. I think that's not unreasonable. So if North has the ace of spades, I think we've got 3 entries. Can you see that? You're going to lead towards your 9. If North plays the ace, so be it. He plays back, let's say, a diamond. You can win, ruff, cross to the 9 of spades, ruff again. And if the suit breaks 3-3, you are home host. And you will have a lot of tricks. You will be making 4 spades and more. Can you see that? So, I think, bearing in mind they haven't made a bid, it's not unreasonable to go for it. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to take you over to Q Plus if that's all right. So let's move over here. I'll quickly do the auction. So it went 3 spades, and this is live. So in theory, North and South could make a bid, but they ended up not bidding. So it's the same auction. Let's see how the play starts. It goes the Queen of Hearts, and we're going to try our plan. Okay, so we will ruff with the 6. And we'll take our plan. We want to do trumps first, of course. So let's play a small spade towards the 9. Brilliant, that's worked. So we can now ruff a heart. We can ruff high. Okay. At this point, we can focus on trumps, can't we? Okay, but it's looking pretty good in the hearts, isn't it? Okay, it's looking pretty good. So why not play a trump? And make sure all the trumps have gone, and they happen to break 2-2. Again, it is quite tricky keeping track of that. But remember, we had 7 and 2, and so both of the opponents have had 2. Okay, now they lead a diamond. We get back to dummy. We ruff another heart. And there you go. They've broken. Isn't that beautiful? Always check for lurkers. So you play a queen of spades just in case. And of course, all of those hearts are winners now. So you are looking at 12 tricks made. Isn't that fantastic? So clearly the weakest suit you're going to see, but the length of it gave you the chance. So let's just finish off the hand. Now we've made 12 tricks. How do you feel about the bidding? And I think this is me trying to exhibit what I'm talking about here. Look at the North hand there. I think I would probably pass with that over 3 spades. You're vulnerable against vulnerable opponents, and you haven't got 4 hearts. I think if you'd had 4 hearts there, you'd probably do a takeout double. You can double if you want on the hand, don't get me wrong. But I think if it goes 3 spades double, it may well go 4 spades double. And you'll finish in 4 spades doubled making rather than 4 spades undoubled. Would you lead anything differently? I'm not sure you necessarily would. The Queen of Hearts looks like a normal lead. So I think that's, it's a beautiful hand. And hopefully both hands we've had today exhibit the power of the trump suit there. Okay, on another day, South has the ace of spades, but you're not giving anything away by trying to use your 9 of spades as an entry. As you can see, if North leaps up with the ace of spades, we still have the 9 of spades as an entry later. Just remember though, if when you ruff the heart, let's say you need to ruff high so you can cross back to the 9 of spades. But hopefully you can see there, 3 trumps. Yes, it's a bit lucky that they're 3-3, but listening to the bidding, maybe that was the most likely break. Don't forget also, I don't think you're giving anything away here. Slightly different if you'd had the ace of trumps here, because if you'd had the ace of trumps, you know that if you play ace and another diamond or ace and another club, you can ruff in the dummy. And, you might think to yourself, well, maybe going 1 off is going to be a good score. Here, though, if you play ace and another diamond, surely South will win, play a trump, and they will stop you ruffing the diamond in dummy. Can you see that? So you would end up losing 2 diamonds and 2 clubs, as well as the spade, and you would go 2 off if you try to ruff either a diamond or a club. Whereas playing hearts, is surely. Let me just nip back here. I'll just show you the last one. So 1 ruff for trick 1, and 2 more might do it, as we said. And there's the full hand on the PowerPoint as well. So you can see that there, if that's clearer for you. And I think it's just relatively normal. I know it's obviously a contrived hand in essence, but I think that's the way the auction would go. 3 spades past 4 spades. And remember, when East bids 4 spades in this auction, South doesn't know whether 4 spades is preemptive or strong, particularly as it's game all. If East had another ace in there, the ace of hearts, let's say, as well then he's expecting to make 4 spades, not unreasonably. So how are you supposed to judge as an opponent? And so I would certainly pass with the South hand, and 4 spades is a relatively normal contract, and I think the Queen of Hearts is a very normal lead. So you slightly regret it when you see 7 of them in dummy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That is a start off, an introduction to the power of the trump suit and the number of tricks and the number of extra tricks you can make and the number of suits you can develop, and thus to start adding on for your long suits. Let's look at that quiz again. We said, as I say, it was a slight contrast to last week. Last week, I was responding to it in the same auction, and I just bid 2 spades with a hand with 9 points. Here, though, we've got a singleton in the opponent's suit and a 5-card side suit, as well as Queen Jack 10 in the other suit. And the lovely thing about a side suit like that is sometimes your partner will have a singleton, and you might be able to develop the 5th card. For me, this hand is very much worth its weight in gold. In fact, if you count losers, it is just 7 losers. So for me, I need to be showing a good raise. So I would bid the opponent suit it. Partner, I am reasonably strong and excited. If you've got a decent overcall, I think we should probably give game a go. Okay, particularly as South's passer, a lot of the time here, East is going to have a decent overcall. And as you can see, East does have a decent overcall here. Now, some of you are going to ask me, what would you bid with the East hand now? Well, the key is East must not bid 2 spades, anything else. So for me, a jump here to 3 spades would not promise extra strength, extra length. Okay, for me, 2 hearts has agreed the suit. All 3 spades is saying is, partner, I am better than minimum. I've got nothing else to say. I haven't got another suit to show or anything like that. You could try a sort of a 3 diamonds sort of, which is showing where some of your strength is outside, I suppose. That might be helpful. But as long as you don't bid 2 spades, you're saying, partner, I've got a decent opening hand strength here. So if you have got a nice hand, maybe we should be in 4. And I think 4 spades is reasonable. you know, if North's probably favourite to have the king of diamonds, in which case, you know, you're looking at 9 tricks and 1 heart ruff is 10. You maybe might make even more ruffs than that. So it's an interesting one to play. It's not perfect. You're not always going to make it, but it's a game I'd want to be in. And that's the key. That's the key. So if you just bid 2 spades with the West hand, I'd expect East to pass. Because I play 2 spade. A 2 spade raise is any load of rubbish. So you could have had 4 points with a singleton and 3 spades. I would bid 2 spades. Clearly, if I've only got 4 points, East doesn't want to be bidding here. Whereas here, 2 hearts are saying, look, partner, I've got a good hand here. Please think about bidding. North may well double because he might have very good hearts. But hopefully we're going to bid to 4 spades. Okay, so let's go back. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. And hopefully I'm safe in Kirkwall. Let's finish, shall we, with the next hand. So I've just got to quickly take control of the players, so bear with me. I've got to work out which ones. I think to be safe I will just do this. So 5-level decision. Let's have a look and see what happens. Okay, your partner opens a club. North bids 3 spades, which is nasty. You double. I hope you're happy with that. That's not the decision we're making, but of course it then goes 4 spades and double again. Pass, and it's your bid. Okay, so some tricky hands. So 1 club, 3 spades. Double for me shows 4 hearts. I like it to promise 4 hearts in that auction. It goes 4 spades from south, double from west. And it's your turn to bid. Notice the vulnerability could be important to you here. You are vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. You are vulnerable against non-vulnerable opponents. Okay, so we'll be revisiting this hand when we on Monday. So this is your hangover. So I hope you enjoy the weekend. Get ready for some defensive tricks, as it were, when we come back in June, because we are disrupting Declara. Okay, and we'll also see the answer to this 5-level decision. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As I say, we're moving on to defence, disrupting Declara, and I don't know if you like defence or not, but somehow we are doing a lot of defence in the coming months because we are disrupting Declara this month. We are going to be defending at teams the month after, and then somehow we are defending as partner of the leader the month after. So there you go. So we are really going to be working hard. Next time, remember, Monday is pre-recorded, which will be on the new topic of disrupting Declara, and I will be back then on Thursday of next week and Friday of next week. So have a nice weekend. I hope you enjoyed that, and see you again soon.